I'm Keegan Hamilton. I'm the criminal justice editor at the LA Times.
What you're doing is extreme by any definition. Like, you're out here on your own volition, patrolling with guns, looking for drug traffickers. There's no other way to frame it other than extreme, right?
Yeah, if getting off the couch and doing something is extreme, then sure, we're extremists.
For this story, we focused on a group called Arizona Border Recon. They're active in southern Arizona, kind of near the border crossing of Nogales, Arizona. This is one of the most well-established civilian border militias that's currently operating in the United States. They've been around, I think, since 2011 or so. And their leader is this guy named Tim Foley, who's been a prominent figure in border militias for a long time. When we reached out to Tim Foley and said, hey, we'd like to shadow you and your group for a few days where you camp out along the border wall, he said, okay, that's fine, come out. And he just sent us some coordinates. And we plugged those into a GPS, and where they camp out is very far off the grid. It's about a 2-hour drive from Tucson, Arizona, on some very rugged, rough roads. When we arrived, the first thing that struck me was how small their camp was. There was only around a half dozen guys, including Foley, and the amount of border that they're actually able to quote unquote patrol is tiny. Like, we're talking like maybe a mile stretch max of a 2,000 mile border. It's really unclear what they're hoping to achieve. Like, they talk about how they are encountering drug smugglers or people who are smuggling migrants across the border illegally and forcing them to go back into Mexico. But it's really hard to quantify their achievements and say that they're making any sort of impact beyond, attracting attention to themselves and creating the perception that the border is this very porous thing that's not secure. When we were there, they encountered something that they said was quite unusual, which was a group of around 31 migrants who had been abandoned by their coyote in the middle of the desert on the Mexican side of the border. And unlike the people that Foley has captured some video of, wearing camouflage head to toe, these people were dressed in normal street clothes. We didn't get a ton of time to chat with them, but it was clear that they were in a very desperate situation, having been wandering around in the desert for, I think, 3 days, what they said. Arizona Border Recon and Tim Foley, talk about this need to secure the border. Now, whether Foley is a good guy or a bad guy really depends on who you ask. Members of his group say that he's taken it upon himself to protect his community. His critics, on the other hand, say that, this is vigilantism, that they're not making any impact at all, and that it's dangerous to have people out there patrolling with guns, and that this creates a recipe for a really dangerous situation where someone could potentially be shot. If you want to know more about this story, go to LA Times or go to Scripps News on YouTube and check their channel for the documentary.